Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started. So let me welcome you officially to this CX Doers webinar brought to you by Cemantica and myself, Ian Golding, and Sirte, who I shall explain momentarily why I never pronounce her surname. This is a really important webinar for me because personally, I don't really understand this subject enough. So I'm very much looking forward to learning from both Sirte and Eytan from Cemantica to help me really put a little bit more flesh on the bones as to what machine customer experience actually means. Before we get to all of that, let me introduce you to the two specialists who are going to be sharing knowledge with you. Firstly, it is an absolute pleasure to welcome my friend and colleague, Eytan Hattem from Cemantica, the CEO and founder of Cemantica. He is currently sitting in Paris, and it's wonderful to see him and welcome him to this very interesting conversation. Welcome, Eytan. And it's also fantastic to be joined by, again, my good friend and colleague, Sirte. Now, Sirte and I just had a conversation about pronouncing her surname. Now, I pronounce a lot of surnames when I host awards and various other things. I still can't do Sirte's surname, so I'm not even going to bother. But Sirte is the CEO and founder of Shrirute, a consultancy based in the beautiful country of Finland. I've had the pleasure of visiting Sirte in Helsinki a number of times, and Sirte really is the passionate vocal voice when it comes to the subject of machine learning, machine experiences, and how it will inevitably impact customer experience going forward. But before I pass over to Sirte to tell us more, let me share a couple of bits of food for thought to warm us up. My name is Ian Golding. Hopefully most of you know that anyway, and I'm currently sitting in Belgrade in Serbia. I'm in a huge room, which is why it's a bit echoey. And the reason I tell you that is that I've just presented to 60 CEOs. Now, that in itself is a remarkable thing, because I don't think I've spoken to 60 CEOs in my career, let alone all in one room at the same time. And they all came to listen to the subject of not just customer experience, but experience management in general. And that in itself is fascinating because it demonstrates that whilst there are not nearly enough leaders of organizations who want to learn about what I call the science of customer experience, there are leaders who do want to learn. And inevitably, during the conversation this afternoon, there was a lot of conversation about AI. Now, one of the people in the room said, you cannot open the fridge these days without hearing the two letters AI. And that's absolutely true. And it's top of all of their minds. How should we be using AI? Now, I gave them my perspective of how we should be using AI. But that's just my opinion as a layperson. What I mean by that is that I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence, and there is still so much that I personally need to learn about artificial intelligence and how we can and should be using it to not just improve customer experiences, but to design those experiences from the very beginning. And that's where the subject of today comes in, because this is all about designing exceptional machine customer experiences. But what on earth does that mean? Now, you might be watching this thinking, well, I know what it means, but I had to do what people do in 2024, go to ChatGPT to try and understand, what does it even mean? And the words that I was served from ChatGPT, I'm going to read them from my piece of paper here, is that machine experiences are a subfield of AI. It is all about developing algorithms that enable computers to learn from and make decisions based on data. Now, I can tell you that if I'd have read that out to the 60 CEOs that I just presented to, they would almost certainly have rolled their eyes at me. You know, it's like, oh, you know, what, just speak plain English. What does it mean? You know, and I then went, well, actually, do I even know what an algorithm is? Now, I've been told about algorithms probably for 10 years, but I don't actually know what it is. So I say Googled, I chat GPT'd algorithm, set of steps for accomplishing a task or solving a problem using computers. Again, I understand what the words mean, but I'm still not completely sure I understand what it means, if that makes any sense. So to demystify all this for us, there is no one better than Sirte. Now, Sirte is a very experienced customer experience professional in her own right. But in recent times, she's made it her business to really get under the skin of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and this whole subject. And so it's absolutely great today that she's going to share her knowledge with us and hopefully help me to understand exactly what is the meaning behind the words. So with that being said, let's go to the wonderful city of Helsinki. It's probably quite dark where you are right now, Sirte, but you're going to bring a bit of brightness into our lives. So over to you, Sirte, to help me understand.
Well, good evening, everybody. We certainly have quite the dark outside nowadays that we have stopped daylight savings time. So now it's even darker than they used to be at this hour earlier on. To come back to your first thing, my name is, my surname, that's pronounced Pihlaja. It's the rowan tree, so which is the national tree of Finland. And I'm quite happy to have that because I really love that tree myself. So you have to look that up, maybe not from ChatGPT, but maybe Google it up and you'll see what rowan trees are if you haven't seen any in your country, wherever you are listening to me at the moment. And if you want to really learn how to pronounce my name, Ian, you should just go and visit my LinkedIn profile because you can keep it on repeat there until you get it. But yeah, so coming back to your original question about maybe defining machine customers, and I really want to talk here about machine customers, not machine learning, because that's a totally different field of artificial intelligence. We're talking about, everybody knows nowadays the thing that people are talking about is generative AI, so ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of these different chats that you're having with these large language models. If we look at the definition by Gartner, by Don Scheibenreef and Mark Rastino, they wrote the book about machine customers, and they are saying, maybe your 60 CEOs would understand this better, that machine customer is a non-human economic actor who's obtaining goods and or services in exchange for payment. And I guess they're interested in the last word in that definition, basically, because it's really a new kind of customers that we're, as consumers or as B2B clients, we're sending our digital assistants, our digital representatives to interact with companies or businesses or maybe even public services to do our bidding, our shopping, find information for us, all of this. And this is a new field really of artificial intelligence called agentic AI. And that's really what we are looking into, at least this coming year. I've been on top of my happiness right now because there's been so many different news releases, like last week, for instance, both Anthropic and Google came out with their releases about how they are putting out their own versions of computer use, whereas they are setting the kind of computer do all of these tasks in front of the person who's guiding it. So taking over from whatever task they have been given, and then the agents go and do it, but you'll visually be seeing that all the time, what is happening, so you can stop it at any moment. The other way of doing machine customers is more invisibly through APIs, so application programming interfaces. So in case companies, and some of the bigger companies have already opened their APIs, so that you can actually let your machine customer do its own stuff, let's say, to go over and do connect with these companies. But when I was writing my book, my chapter in Customer Experience 5 about machine customers, this was not readily available at that point in time. We didn't actually even have the custom GPTs that we have nowadays by OpenAI, and it was still, I had to roam the different GitHubs and whatnot and try to understand the Python code that was there and then try to get those machine customers or agents work for me in concert. But nowadays it has become so much more like easier that you can just do your own custom GPT, put the tools, give it the tools, the APIs that it can use, and then do whatever you want them to do. So that's kind of my kind of understanding of what agentic AI at the moment is. There are other like frameworks coming up. There's AutoGPT, there's OpenAI has their Swarm that was recently released, and there's other like systems that are out there. I think Amazon has their own, it's called Bedrock, I think. And then there's Crew AI, for instance. So there's all kinds of these different frameworks that you can utilize to do this multi-agent tasks for you. And I think that the easiest to understand is what Microsoft came out with lately when they released their second wave of their co-pilots, where you're just integrating different business systems and processes there. So that would be on the B2B side. I don't know if this explained it to you, Ian. I hope so.
It's getting there. We're getting there, Sirte.
Good. The thing I want to mention here actually is that there's so much talk about agents that it's really getting confusing for people at the moment, because on one hand, we're used to talking about CSRs, customer service representatives, as call center agents. Then we have like AI-enabled tools or they're powered by AI tools, and that there's still this some kind of super agents at that point. And then we have on the other side, we have these, like you said, algorithmic and programmatic agents that I'm talking about, that are either for like B2B or consumers. And definitely something that has nothing to do with the agent sitting in the call center.
Very good. So with that being said, for those working in the field of customer experience theatre, what should they be doing with this? How do they utilize this new form of intelligence going beyond the human to design great experiences? So, do we all need to become experts in machine learning? Or, how practically do we use this?
Well, as you know me, I'm I don't want to be a spokesperson for any technology as such. I always say what is really disturbing me about all this AI stuff at the moment is that everybody is putting their businesses into AI mode, and the only reason why they're doing it at the moment is to make their business more, I don't know, efficient and sell more and all of that. Whereas what I'm talking about with machine customers or digital agents is maybe a better word to understand what I'm talking about, is having possibility, giving the people and customers the possibility to put all of these tasks that they are not interested in doing themselves, like booking stuff or I don't know, confirming their government related applications or something like that, like I don't know, the tax declarations or whatnot, that I'm definitely not interested in doing. and giving them the possibility to have this digital assistant do them for in their place. So this makes it possible for CX professionals and practitioners to create more personalized customer experiences. On the one hand, make them even hyper personalized for that one customer, machine customer at the level. So it's a like kind of massive personalization possibility there. And then also on the other hand, use that saved time from all of those contacts to better serve those customers who still want to interact via the human-to-human connection.
So ultimately at the center of all of this is the human, but because it's still about the human who you're interacting with. The difference is that we are utilizing artificial intelligence in the form of machines to make it easier for the customer to achieve their objective, whether it be completing an application or doing something else. Is that a very simple, plain English way of describing it?
Yeah, very much so. But what we are talking about here is a $30 trillion opportunity in cumulative in the upcoming 10 years.
Yes.
So it's a huge thing. In 2026, about 20% of the inbound customer support requests are going to be coming from machine customers. And also like 2030, in five years from there, there's going to be like about a fifth of total revenue is coming from these machine customers. So this is the time to really set up your shop and trying to understand that what kind of business opportunities do we get, like new opportunities and how do we really serve these machine customers so that, I don't know, there's going to be one day when there's going to be like we have the domain name servers at the moment where people like when we want to go on the internet, it's kind of like a directory. If I put there Cemantica, then it goes to Cemantica's website. There's going to be a similar place for machine customers where they say that whether you're a bad or a good company for them.
So here's a question. Again, if I refer back to just having spoken to 60 CEOs, when we talk about machine experiences, you know me, I can only be quite brutal in my assessment of this. Why do we use that expression? Because ultimately, this is about making life easier for the customer, for our colleagues in doing what we need to do. But we seem to have to turn these things into a thing that actually just makes them confused as to what it is. Because this is all about artificial intelligence. But it's using artificial intelligence to enable the customer to perform tasks without having to do the work. That's basically it. But I don't know, maybe I'm being too purist. It would be so much easier for everyone if the boffins that come up with this stuff explain it in plain English. Am I just being, I mean, I'm a 52-year-old man, but maybe it's just I'm showing my age. But is the language confusing people?
I'm sure it is, because even among like CX professionals, when we talk about machine customers, it's not always quite straightforward what we're talking about. When people have different kinds of concepts in their head about even the word agentic, what it means. So I would assume so. That's why I've actually been trying to use more or less more and more this word digital assistant, because that's something that, to me at least, makes it more, I don't know, tangible. In a sense that
but it's
concrete.
a digital assistant for the customer, as opposed to, as you say, a digital assistant to replace the employee.
Correct. Yes.
Right. You see, already, so in answer to your question, yes, it is becoming much clearer in my mind now. I think I'm starting to get it. So with all of that being, and I'm hoping that people watching and listening to this, it's now becoming clearer for you, if you weren't completely sure either. But I'm really keen that we explore even more the practical application of this. So Eytan, I'm going to introduce you into the conversation. Now, just share a little bit, for those who don't know, a little bit of what Cemantica is, what Cemantica does, but how a technology like Cemantica can bring machine learning, digital assistant, the design of experiences like this to life?
So first of all, Cemantica is a journey management platform. It's managing the cycle from CX strategy until execution, CX strategy design until the execution, and in the middle, in the core of the system is the journey management approach, meaning that we are mapping customer journeys for personas, and we are working in a continuous improvement cycle to identify experience frictions, ideate solutions, executing them, measuring them, and refining the cycle all over again. So this is high level what Cemantica does. Now, from the perspective, the machine customers, the machine customer is a persona. It's a type of persona. Like you have a human persona, you also have this non-human persona. And for organizations, they need to map the journey of this non-human persona and identify what are the needs and expectation of this digital assistant. So even though you're not interacting, um, with a human, still the digital assistant is representing a human, and they have needs and expectations. So when customers now or companies design their experience or their customer journey, they need to take into consideration that there's a new type of persona, and the journey has to relate also to this persona. So the communication channels that you offer and the information that this digital assistant can fetch from you, I would say the speed where you are able to answer, the amount of information you can provide, the price, of course, all of these aspects will play a very important role in your ability to be chosen by the machine persona as a supplier that will be recommended to the human. Because at the end, it's the human who will take the decision, but probably will empower the machine customer at some point of time, maybe later on, to also to take even decisions, or maybe simple decisions or decisions with limitations. So there's like a new realm that you need to take into consideration, and you need a platform like Cemantica and other technologies to help you map these journeys of these machine customers.
So let me ask a question. And again, I'm asking you the question. I know you know the answer, but really for the audience watching. In the current state journey for organizations today, it's very likely that there is no non-human persona.
True.
We have
They
a
don't have it.
traditional interaction. So this is becoming, based on what you're saying, very important in thinking about the future state journey. What in that future state journey, how could you utilize that non-human persona to simplify and improve the journey? Is that the right way of thinking?
It's the other way around, in the sense that you as the company, you're designing the journey for the machine customer. So the machine customer has a journey, like the human has a journey, but the journey of the machine customer is different. It means that the current journey that you have for real people will not be adapted to a machine customer, and you will need to design a specific journey for the machine customer.
Wow. Before, I know you're gonna show us what this might look like, but before you do you, and Sirte, you might know, are there any good practical examples of where this is already being done that you know of? So either Sirte or Eytan answer that.
You mean like services that are there available for machine customers?
So already,
well, for instance, I have myself about, I don't know, 20 different digital assistants, and the best one that I'm utilizing right now is called Oli, but it's still in beta, so you have to be part of that beta group. But what it does for me is that it takes my whole like family's food allergies, makes the meal plan for us, gives the recipes, asks about our preferences. That's one very important thing about machine customers. They always know all your preferences, and they buy based on that. Then it creates me this shopping list, and I'm currently looking into how to integrate that to our online grocery, so we can actually send over the shopping list and get those things delivered to us.
Okay, right. So again, I knew I would learn from this session. So are we reliant, and again, this is a question to either of you, are organizations reliant on a customer utilizing I'm going to use your language, Sirte, a digital assistant provided by your company, or are they reliant on ensuring that they can interact with digital assistants that are created by lots of different entities? Does that question make sense?
The latter would be the correct answer there, because I don't think that anybody would be. I mean, OpenAI, they once came out with this thing called plugins, but that really put the whole thing like 10 years further
Okay.
because it wasn't released well.
So the likelihood is then that a little bit like, you know, in many countries you can choose Uber, you could choose Bolt, you know, there's various options for getting a taxi. Are we going to live in a world where there are, you know, hundreds of different digital assistants that you can subscribe to, download, buy, and then that becomes your go-to, a little bit like, you know, many consumers will shop entirely on Amazon. You know, going forward, actually, I'm just going to go to my digital assistant because I know it will do everything for me. Is that what we need to, what companies need to anticipate, that this is just going to, at some point, go crazy? What do you think, either of you?
I would think that it's going to go crazy from here, because there's at least, I don't know, 24 services already that give you the possibility to create your own digital assistants, besides these like big names, let's say.
Do you have a digital assistant, Eytan?
I have a simple one that's just doing note taker, and I have one in Cemantica that's helping me do other things.
So something like, I mean, I've used Otter.ai, I think it's called. That is a digital assistant.
In a way, yes. It's a productivity.
I think I think there are different levels of digital assistants. You know, digital assistant can be many things. Siri and Alexa are also digital assistants. There are lots of devices that could be digital assistant. But I think that machine customer is like a different levels of assistance, because this is going to bring you information, scan the market, and bring you propositions. For example, in the example that we're going to see today, health insurance. You know, so it's a bigger level. It's representing you as a human and doing the work of scanning information for you.
It's fascinating, really fascinating. And that is the perfect segue, Eytan. Show us what it can look like in real life.
Okay, so let me share my screen. So this is a platform, which is an environment we created for this example, you know, and I am playing an insurance company. So I'm not now the digital assistant, I'm the company. I'm an insurance company, and I have my environment of Cemantica, and I want to design now my customer journey for ASI, which is the digital assistant that Sirte was talking about. Now, I think that one of the unique things that we didn't see before is that you don't have one persona here. You actually need two personas. One persona is ASI, which is the digital assistant, and the second persona is the human that she is representing. So, because we need to know what the human is expecting and what the human is looking for. And then we have, so there's like a two-tier complexity that you need to take on one side into consideration the persona needs and expectation of the human, but then you need to adapt the journey to fit the needs and expectation of the machine persona. Even though that they are representing the human, they still have needs and expectation as a digital assistant in terms of the information that they need, the communication channel they can use. They can't use any communication channel. The way they consume the information, is the information simple and easy for them to process? All of these things need to be taken into consideration. So what we're doing with the platform, we are building these personas using another digital assistant called Alex, which is our AI agent. And the first one I'm going to create, just for the example, just to show how it works, would be the human. Okay, let's first of all talk about the human, because this is the base. We're starting from this. So who is the person that we want to map their profile for? So let's say I want to map the profile of Andre. I don't know if it's a Finnish name. Lives in Finland. Let's say that he immigrated. Okay, lives in Finland. 45 years old, married with 2 kids, looking for health insurance for his children. Okay, let's say that this is the person. He is working as a consultant and has a very busy schedule. Doesn't have time, too much time. So this is a busy person. That's why he's using also a digital assistant, because he doesn't have time to scan the market for health insurance for his kids and find the best offer, right? This takes time to contact everyone, get quotes and everything. So what Alex, our AI agent of Cemantica, is doing is currently generating this profile of this human person, this person that is looking for health insurance, and is building a profile. And he's building a profile, so we can see Andre, our consultant. He's 45 years old, lives in Finland. There's some background about his education and everything. But you can see what are the needs of Andre, for example, understanding financial security, transparency and clarity, personalized option, customer support, digital accessibility of the health insurance offers, things that are frustrations like the complexity when you have lots of small words, the lack of transparency, and maybe difficulty in understanding policy changes of health insurance, fear of inadequate coverage that maybe that doesn't cover. We know this, we're afraid when we take health insurance that, we are sick, and then this is exactly the thing that's not covered. All these fears. So this is all built with AI. This is what Alex does, building us a profile of saying, okay, this is what this person, and I could add more types of information into the prompt that I've used. You've seen in 15 seconds, I'm getting a profile. Now from this, I can start enriching also the profile. I don't have to stay with this information. I can continue and add more data elements. Like for example, the financial income level is something I would like to know about Andre. So Alex now is building for me, is fetching more information and trying to understand the financial priorities of Andre. What are the insurance needs and risk assessments? What is in his investments and his expectations? So I'm getting this, and I can add it to my profile. And now I am enriching my profile with additional things, and I can continue on and on with enriching my profile with different types of controls, building a profile. Now, this is the human person, okay? The human profile built with AI. I don't want to do it again. I'm just showing you a ready-made profile now of Asi. So we have Andre, which is the human. Andre doesn't have time, but we understand what Andre is expecting, what Andre needs, and what frustrates Andre. Now Asi is coming to play, and Asi is the non-human digital assistant, and she is going to buy or look for information in the name of Andre to scan the market for health insurance policies. Now, we have the needs of Andre, but the needs of Asi are different. Some of them are the same because she's representing, but some are different because this is a machine. So, for example, then she has needs of information accuracy. She is looking for competitive pricing. She will look for customized solution. She's expecting that the information will be easily accessible, that she can have interactive communication. So look for information and then ask a question on that to get deeper, go deeper on certain options. there are all kinds of barriers that the insurance company, which is me now, I am, let's say, the CX manager of this insurance company. I have here a list of barriers and things that ASI will not be able to cope with. A human can do it, but not ASI as a machine. There are certain channels that this digital assistant cannot use. And there are also all kinds of options in a channel that they cannot use. So we need to adapt the journey to fit to this machine customer. Because if we don't have an adapted journey, then this machine customer will skip our offer and will not bring it to the table of the human. So let's not forget the human has assigned the task to the digital assistant, and whatever the digital assistant is going to bring back, this is what the human is probably going to consider. So if your offer as a company and me as a CX manager won't be on the table, won't be selected because I have all kinds of barriers in my touch points, then I have missed some business. So this is ASI, the profile, and there's a lot of things about ASI that we can put in the profile that are going to use us for the customer journey of ASI. So I'm clicking now on the customer journey of the digital assistant, and this is the customer journey of the insurance company. The insurance company is designing this customer journey for ASI, and it will tailor it so it will fit the expectations of ASI, not of Andre behind, of ASI. So, because this is what I have in front of me. Now, so we have the family health insurance recommendation, which is the customer journey. I have ASI as my persona, and here is all the description of what's happening to ASI on the different stages. So this is what ASI is doing. Initial research, she's gathering information, she is comparing options, she's analyzing the information, she's presenting the recommendation to the human persona, and then there's a purchase stage, which is not done by ASI, it's done by the human. But the human will buy based on the recommendation they got from ASI. And then you can see all the touch points that ASI can use or is available for ASI to use. Some of them are fine, but some of them are not fine. You can see that the experience of ASI is poor on the customer portal when she's gathering information. And you can see that when she's comparing offers, her experience is poor as well because there's not enough information on the insurance. The health insurance company doesn't provide enough information for comparison. So they don't rank well when they're being compared to others. You can see here the sentiment map of ASI. How is the experience flowing over the different stages of the journey? And we definitely see that the company has issues when you gather information and when you compare their offer to others, the experience is not good. And here are all the pain points that were built by Alex for the machine customer. These are all the issues that ASI is facing, like, for example, too many choices or technical issues communicating, or email spams, emails that go to spam, or only phone is available. ASI cannot use this channel. Chatbot is closed. You're using a chat and it closes, or it's unreachable because it's not open in certain hours. All these things are impacting the experience of ASI. And then what we do in Cemantica, Alex is proposing solutions. How do we solve them? When you click on each one of the pain points, you can generate opportunities and solutions with Alex. It will propose you how to solve it for ASI. So he's proposing solutions for the machine customer to optimize their customer journey. And these are all the opportunities that Alex has identified to improve the experience of ASI in the customer journey. And this is how the journey, let's say the basic journey, ends with a list of opportunities. This is how you're going to improve. Now, if I'm recapping everything, look at the scenario. You have a human person that is assigning a digital assistant to perform research on health insurance policies and recommend purchase recommendations for health insurance policies. You have in Cemantica both the human persona and both the machine customer. And then you have the customer journey with the storyline, the touch points, the pain points, and the opportunities. How can you improve its experience? And this is how this is the value of using this type of platform to optimize the experience of ASI.
It's absolutely fascinating. I have a question for you, Eytan. But before I ask it, if anyone watching live wants to ask a question, you are perfectly welcome to put your question into the chat on LinkedIn. So please do if you have a question that you would like either Sirte or Eytan to answer. If you're not watching live, you can obviously still ask a question, and I urge you to reach out to Sirte and Eytan directly, and they will absolutely come back to you. My question, Eytan, is a technical one. As you know, I'm a technophobe, so I can't get my head around this. It's amazing to see how Alex has created not just the persona, but the journey as well. Where is the data coming from? What's it using to create that? Just in really simple terms.
It's using three sources. The first source is all the data that exists on the customer environment. So everything that you have put up until now, created personas, journeys, opportunities, solutions, everything, your CX strategy, everything that's in the system is being used to nourish Alex to build the persona and the journey. The second source is OpenAI. So all the public knowledge out there, everything which is public. And the third source of information are best practices templates. So we have industry templates. So for example, for the machine customer, all the research of Sirte is being used to nourish Alex as well. So all this type of
Okay.
information.
A second question, because you and I have been asked this question before, and I'm never quite sure I can answer this as effectively as you can. Isn't there a risk, and Sirte contribute to this if you feel you need to, isn't there a risk in this machine world that all organizations are learning from exactly the same data? You know, how do we ensure that we're not compromising our uniqueness, our own differentiation? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, and I think I answered it in an article a couple of months ago. I I believe that when you're designing a customer journey, you're actually designing, right, the experience of your personas. It cannot be just the job of a machine, because machines cannot build relationship. Machines don't have emotions. They don't have sentiments. And this only human can understand a relationship and can understand an emotion. So I think Alex can give you a skeleton, but then it's up to you to put the human touch inside and create a unique journey for your company. Alex cannot do that for you.
Okay.
Maybe
Sirte,
if I,
do you
if
want to
I,
add to that? Yes,
yeah,
please.
if I may, maybe I'm sharing here. Hopefully you see what I'm sharing, but
Yes,
all
we
of
can
the
see it.
all of the information that you saw in the previous example that Eytan and I had constructed for you is based on an actual practical piece of research that we did on machine customer or digital assistance experience in Finland. So we created this ASSI digital assistant exactly for that purpose, and she was then going to different meeting with different companies, both in the chat and email channels, and all of the information that kind of telling about what barriers she met there has been put as kind of into the brain of Alex here, so that Alex has been able to utilize that when he has been creating those personas and those customer journeys. So really, it isn't something that kind of can be shared by all of the different users but it's definitely on our input that it has been created. And really, we did in this piece of research, we did manage to have like 40 companies where about 30 of them could actually serve ASSI. And the funny thing was that some of these people or the customer service representatives that she talked with, they never even realized that they were talking to a digital assistant, even if we put into ASSI's mouth these things that I'm going to relay this information to us, my human, and I am a digital assistant. She would always present herself as such, and so on. So funnily enough, we got these answers but others said that it was surprising in the beginning, but they were then very happy to serve her as they would have served any customer. So
Yes.
I don't know, it's not such a big barrier if we're talking about human to machine kind of this service moment.
And it's inevitable, and I think this is what organizations need to get their heads around, that this is going to happen whether people like it or not. And so the sooner you get your head around it. We're coming to the conclusion of this CX Doers webinar. And I'm going to give you the final word, Sirte, in a moment. As you know, I rarely give someone else the final word, so don't take that lightly. Before I do, I think what's really fascinating about all of this is that it is actually not that difficult to understand. I think we're being slightly blinded by language and by everyone wanting us to hear these terms without really explaining to us what these terms mean. But what we can see from what you've shared with us, Eytan, that this is here now. We are able to do this right now. So the final thing I'd like to ask is, firstly, Eytan, if people want to start using something like Cemantica now, what do they have to do? How do they start? Because whilst it's not difficult to understand, as I now know, not everyone's going to be ready to do this, are they?
Yeah, I agree with you. No, not everyone is ready. First of all, they can watch the webinar and see how we did it, but they can download the free trial from the website and they can play around creating other examples. Doesn't have to be, in their industry, creating examples of their industry, and then it's so intuitive and easy to do. It's just a prompt, so you can try it out and you will see for yourself. It's easy.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Eytan. And Sirte, this is all about developing knowledge, but there's only so much we can share in a 45-minute webinar. So if people want to know more, how can they get more?
Well, I would urge everybody to go to machinecustomers.fi firstly and download the piece of research that we have published. It's completely free to download from there. And actually, even if you're not preparing for machine customers or digital assistants at the moment, all of the barriers, that the kind of minefield that Asi had to go through before she was able to get any kind of service there, they also apply to us human customers. So there were things that if you kind of go through that playbook or checklist, you'll kind of serve your human customers better as well. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we are now offering to everybody who's joined this webinar or to join us for a kickoff workshop with Cemantica. So it's a 2-hour thing where we're going to give you some hands-on learnings and maybe go a little bit deeper into this topic so that you'll really understand what we're talking about. And then you get Cemantica for 30 days and try this out.
Amazing.
So,
well, to me, that's a bit of a no-brainer. If this is a subject that you need to know more about now, I urge you to do exactly as Sirte has said. Scan the QR code and make sure that you register for that workshop. Sirte and Eytan, a huge thank you to both of you for sharing your knowledge, and Eytan for showing us practically what this can look like. It's so important that we have conversations like this. But if you do need to know more, in addition to this webinar, as I've said already, reach out to Sirte, reach out to Eytan. They'll share with you whatever they can. That we need to keep learning, and these guys know so much about this and how to do it for real that you must reach out to them if you need more. But with that being said, we have come to the end of today's webinar. A huge thank you, Sirte, a huge thank you, Eytan, an even bigger thank you to Esther, who is behind the scenes, who makes all of this happen. Thank you to all of you for taking the time to listen and watch what we've had to share today, and we look forward to welcoming you to a CX Doers webinar at some point in the near future. Thank you, everyone.
Mm.
Good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.